Thank you for watching this training video on the Good Samaritan Woodshop. Today we'll be talking a little bit about the table saw, the miter saw, the bandsaw, the drill press, and the belt/disc grinder. Before you get started, there's a couple things that you should know about safety. In the woodshop, it's necessary to take off any jewelry on your hands as well as necklaces. Please roll up your sleeves if you have long sleeves. And if you have long hair, please make sure that your hair is tied back. It's also necessary to wear long pants and closed-toed shoes. One of the most important things to remember about the woodshop is eye protection. Eye protection should be worn at all times in the woodshop and is provided for you here on the wall in the form of either safety glasses or goggles. Please make sure you're prepared with eye protection before you begin. Another important element to protecting yourself in the woodshop is proper hearing protection. Hearing loss is a progressive condition, so please be sure to use hearing protection anytime you are using the powered equipment. Always remember that safety manuals are available for every piece of equipment in the woodshop. Before doing any work on an unfamiliar piece of equipment, please be sure to consult the manual. The first piece of equipment we're going to take a look at today is the table saw. The table saw is used to make cross cuts across the grain of the wood or rip cuts along the grain of the wood. The power button for the table saw is right here. The green button will turn it on, the red button will turn it off. The front wheel on the machine changes the height of the blade. The center wheel locks down the blade after you've changed the height. The handle on the right of the machine changes the angle of the blade. As with before, the center wheel locks down the blade. When preparing to make a cut, if you notice that there's an obstruction on the outfeed table, please clear it off before making the cut. Before making your cut, please be sure to adjust the fence accordingly and lock it down. Turn on the table saw. Make sure your material is firmly up against the fence and begin to feed the material slowly through the saw. Make sure that there's no binding as you feed the material through the saw. If you get to a point where you can no longer move the material past the saw within reach, use a push stick to help you complete the cut. Make sure to shut the saw off after you complete your cut. Never reach over the blade to grab your material after it's been cut. Always go around and retrieve from the safe side. The saw guard should always remain in place and only be removed by authorized personnel. If you need to have the guard removed to do a certain cut, please get in touch with maintenance personnel. The next piece of equipment we're going to take a look at is a miter saw. The miter saw can be used for cross cuts and for mitering. The power switch is located on top of the handle. The handle pulls down the blade and also pulls out the rotating assembly. If you'd like to lock the assembly in place, just turn the knob to lock it. To begin the cut, place your material firmly against the fence. Start the saw at the top of its travel. Pull the saw out towards yourself. Push the saw down and then back against the wood you're cutting and follow all the way through the cut. Release the power trigger and allow the blade to completely stop spinning before returning it to its upright position. To change the angle of the cut, pull the trigger on the miter table, turn the machine to the angle that you'd like it to be, release the trigger, and tighten down. The next piece of equipment that we're going to take a look at is the bandsaw. The power switch for the bandsaw is located on the left-hand side. The start switch is green and the stop switch is red. The guard height should always be 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch above the material that you're cutting. In order to change the guard height, first undo the knob on the back of the bandsaw. Then move the guard height up or down as the material dictates. Be sure to lock it back in place once you're done adjusting it. When making your cut, please ensure that your hands and fingers are kept at least 3 inches away from the cutting edge. Push the material down against the table and feed slowly against the bandsaw. Avoid backing out of an incomplete cut. When cutting tight curves or circles, use a series of small relief cuts to prevent the blade from binding when cutting the curve. The next piece of equipment we're going to take a look at is the drill press. The drill press is used to create vertical holes or mortises. To adjust the height of the drill press table, first unlock the table and then rotate the crankshaft up or down as necessary. Always make sure to clamp down your material before you begin drilling. Be sure to use a backing piece to your original piece to make sure that the table is protected and that your backing piece doesn't experience any blowouts on the other side. To insert a new bit into the drill, remove the chuck from the left-hand side. Insert the drill bit up to, but not including the threaded portion of the bit. Tighten down the chuck by hand first, then use the drill key to complete tightening it down. Make sure to replace the drill chuck on the side of the drill. To begin drilling the material, turn the machine on, then lower the bit slowly through the material. Never force it through, as this can break the bit. Larger bits and harder materials require slower drill speeds. Consult the manual if you need to change the speed of the drill, and ask a maintenance person for help. Before turning the equipment on, use the safety key. The equipment will not turn on without the safety key fully engaged. When you're done, please be sure to remove the safety key and replace it on the side of the machine. Next is the belt sander and disc grinder. This is a combination piece of equipment that's used to shape rough edges. The power switch is located just below the motor. Flip it up to turn it on, and flip it down to turn it off. To begin, turn the machine on using the button by flipping it upward. Make sure that your stock isn't against the machine when it starts. Begin rounding the corner, gently pushing it in to the moving sanding wheel. Thank you for watching this brief tutorial on the Good Samaritan woodshop. Please be sure before you leave the woodshop to clean up your area, put back any personal protective equipment that you may have borrowed from the shop, and if you have any questions or feel uncomfortable using any piece of equipment to make a more complicated cut, please feel free to contact the maintenance personnel.